it's Kyushu92 here. Welcome back to another instance of One Piece Reflections, where, if you didn't know, I reflect on all the past chapters we get within each month. And since today is the last day of August, that's when we're going to be looking at the chapters 913 through 16, with 16 releasing earlier today. I literally just finished reading the past chapter a good 4 minutes ago, so there's that little dividend in between there. But first up, we have chapter 913, Suda Repays a Favor. Now, in this chapter, we see Luffy and Zoro facing off against Basil Hawkins, who is one of the headliners in Kaido's army and his crew, and we actually get the name of his devil fruit, which is the Wada Wada no Mi, which is essentially the straw fruit, and it allows him to turn himself into like a living voodoo doll with the repercussion of the attacks being put into his own men. So you could attack him, slice him, shoot him, as we've seen with him versus Kizaru. We see that damage actually goes to his own men rather than him. And he can do this multiple times. He can have multiple dolls in his body that takes a ton of damage, and he'll come out completely unscathed. And he's able to manipulate a giant, evil-looking straw man with a sword, and even kind of detach it from the sword so he can still manipulate it even from long distances. So as we see Luffy and Zoro face off against this very strong fruit ability, we then see Sudu come in, and Komachio manages to get away from them with a woman named Sudu that is riding with them. And as she sees Tama in critical condition, she asks Luffy to bring her to her tea house so she can look after her. And then they later arrive at Leftover Town with Beppo, Shachi, and Penguin looking over Luffy and Zoro, letting Law know that, hey, the Straw Hats are here. So that's the chapter where we finally got the Heart Pirates getting introduced into this arc. So even though we knew that Law and them were going to be traveling with them, it was nice to, actually see some of the crew members there. So that was chapter 913. The main takeaway from that chapter was the fact that we finally got to see Basil Hawkins' Devil Fruit, and we finally got the name, and we saw how capable he is on taking on Zoro and Luffy. Like, even Zoro acknowledges that the straw man that comes out of Basil into his sword is a dangerous opponent, and he notes how strong it is. So that's one of the big takeaways from chapter 913. In chapter 914, it's called Leftover Town, and Sudu heals Tama and feeds her, and she reveals that the Kozuki family ruled over Wano for over 20 years, and it causes two gifters named Batman and Gazelle Man to attack them, and Gazelle Man kidnaps Tama with Luffy and Zoro giving chase. And this is where we go to Leftover Town. Well, not go to Leftover Town, but they take her to Bakura Town, which is the noble town, which is one of the noble towns that only high-ranking people actually live in. Because Leftover Town is a place where everything that Bakura Town and the people that live in it don't want, it gets left there, from refuse to food to scraps that people in the Leftover Town are basically barely living off of. So Gazelle Man and Batman take Tom. I still can't get over the fact that Batman is in One Piece. Batman steals a little girl and brings her to a big lion. Brings her to a lion man. Batman kidnaps a girl and brings her to a man with a lion in his stomach. That's a sentence I never thought I'd say. But they kidnap her and they take her to a man called Hold'em, but we don't get fully introduced to Hold'em quite yet. So as this is going on, Luffy and Zoro head for Bakura Town on Komachiu, and they are joined by Kiku, who is also a woman. Like in the previous chapter, Kiku is introduced as a woman being harassed by a big old samurai dude by the name of Yokozuna, who comes into play later. So she joins him. She joins them, and she also knows that she is a samurai. Well, she claims to be a samurai. And while this is going on, Law hears that Luffy and Zoro are arriving, and they're probably and goes to try and stop them before they cause any more trouble, because he knows how infamous the Straw Hats are for causing trouble wherever they go. And that is chapter 914 of Leftover Town. Then we enter into Bakuda Town. We get to see in full effect the town of Bakuda and the people who reside in it, which also happens to be a place that Yokozuna, this big sumo wrestler that we've seen in the previous chapter, in chapter 913, lives. And he also has made a name for himself as a undefeated sumo wrestling champion. So as this is going on, firstly, Tama is brought before Hold'em, which we see to be a lion gifter, like a lion smile user. Like, he has a lion in his stomach because of that artificial devil fruit that is also autonomous. And it also doesn't like Hold'em. Like, sometimes it'll cower before him when he says certain things, but then it'll get mad and upset and try to swipe at his junk. Even though they both share the same body and they both share the same pain, which means if he swings at Hold'em's junk, he's actually swinging at his own junk, and it's hurting the both of them, because the lion, by one of the crew members' own words, is kind of stupid. So they try to find out, well, Hold'em really wants to find out how Tama was able to tame Hee, which apparently in Hold'em's eyes was once a ferocious part of their crew, but now all of a sudden it's all benevolent and friends with Tama. And they wonder, and Hold'em surmises that it's from an ability that she has to pull pieces of her cheek out and tame him with. So they resolve to trying to forcibly pull it out of her body, but it doesn't work that way. Then we cut to Yokozuna eating inside of this bar area where this dude called Mouse Man, who is apparently his manager or something, tells him to use his high status to give Kiku no chance but to be his wife, like force Kiku to be his. And that he's, beating everybody in sumo wrestling. And then they arrive in town. And another thing that I didn't notice until one of my own viewers told me this was the voice I gave Yokozuna. And then there's this one part of the chapter where Yokozuna tells the owner of the bar he's eating in to serve up the raccoon that's just walking around in there, even though the owner says that that raccoon is like a pet of the bar and he's been there for many years. And Urashima's all like, cook him up for me. Raccoon's my favorite. I didn't realize the dynamic of the voice that I gave him mixed with Yokozuna wanting to eat a raccoon. I didn't realize the little bit of a pairing in between there until they said something, but I found that hilarious. So as this goes on, Luffy and Zoro and Kiku arrive in Bakuda Town. Urashima sees them, and as he tries to have his men take Kiku just disappears for a quick second and slices through his top knot and refuses to be with him. And we all know that cutting off a top knot is literally the most shame-ridden thing that could happen to any noble of any status. It's like if you were a member of the Queen's Royal Guard of England, if you were to, I don't know what's the highest disrespect for a member of the Queen's Guard. What is the highest disrespect? Walking into a Japanese home with shoes on. No, that's not. I'm trying to find a comparison between getting top knot cut off. I guess the best one would probably be scars on the back of a swordsman. Scars on the back is a swordsman's shame. So a top knot loss is a samurai's shame, apparently. So that is 9:15. Then we move on to the chapter literally I just read a couple of minutes ago. Urashima's devastated at the fact that his top knot was cut. Kiku was trying to play coy a little bit. Or I wouldn't say trying to play coy, but she tries to play on his sympathies of how much she thought that he loved her, well, lusted after her. And she says, like, you wouldn't raise your hand against a woman. Urashima ain't having it. He's so devastated by that, he just basically wants to kill her now, because that was the highest form of disrespect for him. And now he wants her dead completely. But Luffy jumps in with his own brand of gum sumo wrestling, and he takes on Urashima, beats Urashima, and sends him flying into multiple buildings, one of which just happens to be a certain headliner's home. So, as this is going on, and the henchmen surround them, and they're fighting him, Kiku's fighting too, but she's kind of like apprehensive. I want to say apprehensive. Like, she's asking Zoro, should I cut them? Like, if you're gonna fight and take time back, yes, you gotta fight them. And she's all like, should I cut them? Of course. I'm not gonna do it for you. And then she just goes to town, and I'm just like, how powerful is she? Like, she's reluctant to do it. She's kind of scared to do it. She's nervous to do it. But when she's pushed to it, she just slices through dudes like it's nothing. Just how skilled is Kiku in swordsmanship? I want to know. Because if she didn't have that nervousness about her, she could possibly be, I don't know, possibly on par with Tashigi? I don't know. Maybe. But as this fighting is going on, Hold'em finally makes his presence known, letting Luffy know that he sent Urashima flying into his very own house. And he's also there, holding Tama hostage in the mouth of the lying parts of his body. And as this is going on, we have Law tending to Beppo, constantly warning him that the fish in the rivers are poisonous because of, as I've said in the previous chapter video, they're poisoned because of Kaido's factory. But now the Heart Pirates are heading towards Bakura Town. We have Luffy's facing off against Hold'em, with one asking to let Tama go and the other one saying, no, I ain't gonna. While they've been trying to forcibly pull the food out of Tama with her devil fruit ability, but it doesn't work, which I surmise is she has to consciously do it. You can't force it out of her. She has to do it willingly. And then we have Basil Hawkins coming to the Bakura Town gate as well. So are we just gonna have one big battle royale between the Heart Pirates, Straw Hat, Hold'em, and Basil Hawkins as they all meet up into the town of the nobles? I honestly don't know, because we're going on hiatus. But this was I think all of these chapters were very good, especially the last one. Because I got tired of seeing Urashima. He's like, the woman said no. Just back down, bro. So to see him get palm thrusted through multiple buildings, knocking him out, breaking his championship unbeatable streak, was very pleasing to me. It was almost, he was like the equivalent of Saint Charlos, though to a lesser degree. I don't like Charlos whatsoever, but to see him get thrown through all those buildings, it was very satisfying. But I thought all four of these chapters were very good. It may be 3 or 4 or 5, depending on which time zone you were in during the start of this month. But I thought all these chapters were good. We're going on hiatus next week, so that'll be a perfect time for me, because I'm going to be enjoying Spider-Man on Friday. Oh my god, I'm actually going to be playing it the night of, because I'm going to be making videos and playing it the night of. But of course, you know, the embargo and whatever, so I won't be uploading until the day after. So, I thought all these chapters were very good. Especially seeing Basil Hawkins' Devil Fruit ability for the first time, because I love those reveals. I love the name of it. I love the nature of them being revealed as a whole. I absolutely love that. I still can't wait to see what Vegapunk is going to do with all the knowledge that we've learned about Devil Fruits. Just what new revelations will Vegapunk reveal to us when we finally see him. I'm still waiting on that, but I thought all these chapters were good. Let me know what you thought of all these chapters as a whole. Not just the previous chapters that I've done earlier today, but there's the chapters over the course of August, and what type of chapters are we going to be getting in the month of September? Let me know what you think. Did you like the chapters that we had for this month? Did you hate them? Did you wish that we could have gotten something a little bit more? Let me know your thoughts. So I hope you all enjoyed. I can't wait to see you all in the next video. So have a fantastic day. And once again, as always, later, peoples.